Hey guys, there have been a lot of new announcements and or leaks regarding new Fuji gear on the near horizon, and I keep getting a lot of questions from you guys about it. So I figured I'd just do one roundup video to share with you all my thoughts on all the new and exciting tools that are going to be coming out soon, and tell you which of those that we do plan on purchasing and or reviewing here on the channel. The timestamps are in the video description for each of the particular types of gear, so go ahead and use those. Pick and choose the content you're interested in. First off, let's start out with the officially announced stuff. Just a day ago, Fuji announced the Fuji X-T200. This is being marketed towards entry-level photographers. The quick mentionables here are a non-X-Trans 24.2 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor and an improved processor. The combination of those improve the burst rate shooting, gives us 4K 30p and also 120p at 1080. And it reduces the rolling shutter. Something though that excites me a lot, it will have dedicated phase detection coverage across the full sensor, which will improve face and autofocus even in video. Fuji is also trying something new with a gyroscope to allow for some electronic image stabilization, and it will ship with a mic input. So from a video shooter or a hybrid shooter's perspective, this X-T200 is going to provide some important improvements where it really counts over the X-T100, but the improved autofocus and the improved burst rates alone are features that may be upgrade worthy to enthusiast photographers. However, it appears that it will not ship with some of the more exciting filmic profiles, in my opinion, Eterna, Acros, Classic Negative, nor will it shoot in F-Log. For me personally, I feel the same excitement about this camera that I did when I first saw leaked photos of the X-T100 about a year or two ago, whenever it was, and also a little while later with the X-A7. With both of those, I had hoped, though, that they would be the video content creation tools that I'd been waiting for from Fuji, that provided a fully articulating screen. In both cases, it was a huge disappointment to learn that they were not going to work at all, though, and not very impressive when it comes to creating YouTube video content. And so it's really great to see Fuji take upgrades to this camera line so seriously, and I'm legitimately excited about this announcement, again, for selfish reasons. I've already pre-ordered this camera, and it will replace the job that's currently being done by this guy, the Canon EOS RP, for run and gun video creation work for us on the channel. So while I do love Canon, I'm excited to use full Fuji for both photo and run and gun video content. The next official announcement was for the XC 35mm f2 lens. From the work that Patrick of Fuji Rumors did, it appears that the optics of this lens will closely match the current XF35 f2, but since this XC lens will lose the dedicated aperture ring, the metal construction and the weather resistance, it will save consumers around $100 US. Now, this is absolutely great news for every beginner photographer. Nearly every major camera manufacturer has their nifty 50 prime lens, which provides decent aperture, good image quality, adequate construction, all at an incredible price. But Fuji has never had that, not until now anyway. So assuming the image quality can match this 35 f2, Fuji has finally got a prime lens on its hand that hopefully, unequivocally, we can recommend to budget beginners. Now, I know we shouldn't expect this lens as an XC lens to take the sort of abuse that tougher XF lenses will be able to. And I do have one concern overall, and that is tolerances. Will we see a lot of sample variation since cheaper materials will be used and it'll be likely outsourced, not in Japan factories? Not sure, but I am looking forward to finding out either way. As to whether we will purchase this lens, no, that's probably not in the cards. Having an aperture dial is one of my favorite things about shooting Fuji, and this little 35 f2 is absolutely one of my favorite Fuji lenses ever. However, we'll certainly try to procure a copy for review and or comparison, the fates willing. And it will probably become one of my top recommended budget lenses, assuming it's capable of the same sort of image quality. I mean, it just definitely will be one that I recommend a lot. The next lens announced is the GF 45-100 f4. This lens will be the first GF lens that I will have purchased for my GFX 50R, my neglected 50R. I'm really excited about that, mostly because of the 5-axis image stabilization and the moderate zoom range. It's a lens that I've been needing to perfectly complement my 50R for flexibility and stabilization with my shooting. And I really want to try shooting a few events with that combination and see how well it does. Of course, we do have the 32 to 64 f4. I haven't used it. And that's probably great for the X-100 where it has IBIS, but with a lens like that on a 50R, you really won't see the benefit of that massive sensor without some stabilization. So this lens was necessary, and I'm super excited about it. Next, we'll be talking about the really exciting stuff, the rumors. But before we do that, I do want to take a minute and thank this video's sponsor, which is Skillshare. While all these camera announcements are exciting, the best place for you to invest in an upgrade is actually the space directly behind your camera, and that's in you, in your brain. It's still January 2020, and there is still time to work on a plan for your New Year's goals. A great way to do that is with Skillshare, an online learning community that offers classes designed for real life with short, hands-on classes that you'll be able to fit into your crazy life seamlessly. And we've certainly seen that. My first experience with Skillshare, of course, was a search for photography content, and I was extremely surprised to see the massive amount of content that is listed on every type of photography and every skill you would need to level up your particular area of interest when it comes to photography, including street photography, documentary photography, improving your Instagram presence, and even film photography. The class I just took was a meaningful one for me since, as you know, January has been my full-time YouTubing journey. It was a class from Thomas Frank about real productivity and developing some habits that will last. This is helping me create a lot more content. The value of Skillshare is already evident to me. Click in the link in the description to get 2 free months of premium membership and start exploring your own creativity. Okay, so rumored stuff. I want to make sure to say here, I'm absolutely not privy to any product developments from Fuji. I know as much about the cameras that I'm going to talk about, maybe even less than some of you. And so all I can really do is react to what's been shared and guess at what and hope and dream. If you find speculation bothersome though, I'm sure that there are other ways you could be spending your time, so I release you from all obligation to watch the rest of this video. But let's start out talking about the X-100V. We do not know much about this camera yet, but there is a leaked photo shared on Fuji Rumors that shows a 2-way LCD screen, and there is a rumor that it will have an updated lens. I'll link to those rumors in the description. A few years back, DENAE and I gave up shooting with the X-100 series after the T because of several reasons. The first was reliability issues. Prior to the F, they had real issues with durability. We had issues with our S and then again with the T, and I got tired of dealing with Fuji support. I understand that the F has generally more reliability based on anecdotal data that I've seen. So that gives me a little hope, and I think it's probably time to give the X-100 series another chance in the durability department. But no screen articulation was also a deal breaker. If they are adding that, and there's that strong rumor that they are, I think that's a positive move. The only time I use the LCD to shoot as a documentary photographer is when I need to shoot low. So if there's going to be an LCD, it really needs to articulate, in my opinion. So I'm excited about that. The other rumor out there is that it will ship with a brand new lens. As a detail shooter, I was happy to see improvements with the X100F with firmware that allows it to go to focus to macro without needing to switch like prior X100s. So I hope that new lens will continue to allow for close focus. But I hope that it will improve the fuzziness of the close focus that has plagued the X100 series with that 30 or that 23 f2 lens for so long. So an improvement there would be extremely interesting to me. Now, many others are calling for focus markers printed directly on the lens as well as more accurate manual support, but I worry that will unduly increase the size of that device. So for me, I'm mixed there. But the last thing I'll say about it is not a rumor, but rather pie in the sky hope from me, and that is probably a controversial one as well. In Joe Alim's video where he speculated on this device 6 months ago, he mentioned his wish was for a 35mm rather than a 23mm focal length, and while we do know this lens will be updated, there is no indication that it will be a focal length change, but I would love this personally. And it looks like Joe Alim has been invited to the Fuji Summit in February as a panelist, where they will be announcing and discussing that camera. So who knows, a guy can dream. But really, if I was betting on it, I'd say that all we'll see here is an upgrade to the current lens to provide better resolution for that higher megapixel count on the new sensor that it will be upgraded with. I don't think it'll be a brand new sensor that we haven't seen before. I think it'll be the same one on the X-T3 personally, but I could be wrong there. But either way, a new lens is probably due. Finally, we have the rumor of the X-T4. It is actually surprising to hear, to me, that Fuji is coming out with an update to the much-loved X-T3 so soon. There are two very exciting rumors associated with this camera, again, to which we will link to below from Fuji Rumors. The improvements are two of the only complaints I had, and many others still have, with the X-T line, which is honestly already near perfect. Where is it? Here it is. This camera is beautiful and amazing, sells very well, but there are two things that people say over and over again that I've seen, and I'm sure Fuji has heard. The first is the possibility of a brand new battery. Shooters moving from other systems to Fuji have often complained about the poor battery performance of these NPW 126 batteries. Moving to a whole new battery system, while painful in many ways to us, especially considering interoperability with our older Fuji bodies, it is a necessary innovation. Looking forward to the future versions we get from Fuji. The only bummer is if it increases the size of the device, and if the new X-100V won't be utilizing that same battery. That will also be sad. I really hope we see the X-100V utilize the improved battery also, but I sort of doubt we will. And if we don't, that also makes me think we'll see the size increase for the X-T4, which I have mixed feelings about. The next improvement is the rumor of IBIS. I've long wondered why Fuji employees have stated that it's not possible to utilize sensor stabilization in this device due to the small size, when the tiny APS-C Ricoh GR3 is able to do it. On the other hand, I don't think the Ricoh GR3 stabilization is anything to write home about. It's not amazing, in my opinion, based on a recent test. But IBIS will probably be a very welcome improvement to many of you, and certainly to me. I just hope that it will not affect size too much. However, again, if we aren't going to see an addition of IBIS to the X-100V, to me, that gives evidence to the fact that the X-T4 is going to be larger than the X-T3. And that will make me sad, but maybe it's necessary to balance the system to make it more competitive and bring balance to the force. But either way, these changes I do feel like are necessary. The draw to the Fuji system for so many of us is the strong focus on small, optically incredible prime lenses. Putting OIS in these lenses is not realistic, and you guys have been complaining about the lack of IBIS for years, but at the same time, not changing the experience to make it feel like a DSLR feeling camera, like what happened with the XH1 series, will also be important. We know that that line has just not performed as well as the XT line. To be clear, I know many of you do love the XH1 form factor and have been disappointed by Fuji's neglect of that line, but as a business, I think it's clear that they are following the demand and doubling down on the huge success of the XT line. And so it does seem like the smart move to me, but this is all just for funsies and conjecture. We'll know the truth soon enough, but I'd like to know what you think. As always, how wrong do you think I am? But please do remember, as always, kindness before cameras, and we'll talk to you again real soon.